So, hi, lovely to chat with you. And let me recall, we last spoke was for Bulbul. What
Right.
I mean, there is a paranormal connection here.
Yeah, seems like actually it's very funny. Yeah, it's a considerable part of my Hindi work has been about. It turns out that it has had paranormal elements in it. Yes.
Funny, yeah. I mean, it's yeah. Actually, come to think of it, whether it's
Yeah.
Kahaani, whether it's Pari, whether not Kahaani
So
as
Kahani
such. No, not
Kahani
such.
didn't have any
But
paranormal. I think Pari,
paranormal.
Bulbul, and now Aranyak. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
So well, I watched 3 episodes, and I'm waiting to watch the remaining. So
Okay.
your character Angad, interesting. He's going through his own personal spiel as well, and then in the professional front, he's at loggerheads on this power play with this woman. So when Aranya came to you, what was it that made you say yes that to play the character that you are?
I think it was the other way around. I was like, I was when I read the first uh, episode or so, I was just raring to be a part of it, and
Mhm.
uh, also I think it checked so many boxes. It's for a platform as prestigious as big as Netflix. The show has been put together by people like Roy Kapoor Films, that Roy Kapoor, Ramesh Sippy Entertainment, Rohan Sippy, Vinay Vaikul is about to direct, and of course having Raveena, the possibility of having Raveena Tandon as your main prime co-actor. Everything was a bit too luring to even think twice.
Awesome. I want to ask you, see, you are a director as well, and you are an actor. Do the two personalities ever get into a tug of war in your head?
They do, they do, they do on they more often than not they do, and I'll tell you how it happens, how they happen, because it happens on two or three levels. One level I think is at one level when I'm being hired as an actor, when I'm there to provide my services only as an actor,
Hmm.
the director self in me sometimes wants to take the front seat, the driver's seat, especially on occasions where I see that the film that I'm being a part of, film or whatever I'm being a part of as an actor, is not really taking the direction it is meant to, or not really going the right way. And it's when the director is unsure of his craft, or I just feel like forget about everything else, forget about aesthetics, forget about creativity. It's just to finish the day's work. I really feel that the director in me should just come to the fore and just finish it off. Um, but thankfully, in most cases, Aranyak being one such case where the director self in me did not have to come to the fore at all, because it was so well planned and so well executed. People who were making it were so sure what they wanted and so sure how to craft it, how to mount it. It's so well made that thankfully that did not have to, that director bone in me did not tickle me, because I try to keep that aside when I'm on a set as an actor, and I try to ensure that the experience that the people who have hired me as an actor, that the experience that they get from me is only as an actor and as not in any other capacity, because that can become a little overwhelming, that can become a little intimidating. If I was in there, if I would put myself in their shoes, I can get intimidated by an actor trying to sort of give me too many inputs on how to direct my thing. You know what I mean?
I
So
get
that is
that.
not something that, yeah, not something that I want to do. And there's another a very personal or professional level on my side. That's where it also conflicts now and then. That maybe in 6 months' time, I have actually planned a film of mine which I'm going to direct, and I've been writing that for the last 1 year or so, and I've been kind of dreaming about it and preparing, getting finances for it, putting together actors, and now suddenly I get an offer for a very alluring job as an actor. Then they kind of collide, they coincide, and I really have to fight really hard to make sure that uh, I would have to go to people and say, "Acha, isko 15 दिन आगे पीछे कर सकते हैं क्या?" That is how you have to do it. So yeah, so that is. But again, I'm not complaining, because I just think that this is a part of the whole deal. I mean, I'm doing all of these things. I'm an actor, I'm a director, I'm a producer as well, because I like doing this. And since I like doing this, I'll also have to know how to take the small flip sides of the business into my stride.
Absolutely. And before we discuss about the business, Aranyak, again, it's interesting. You've been part of thrillers. I know it's basically the director's job to maintain that momentum, tauten it up so the audience is interested. For actors being in a thriller, what is it like? Because, thriller, it can go either ways, you know. So what is it like when you are part of a narrative like this, where you have to keep giving the audience cliffhangers and, control yourself, no, not go so all out?
Yeah, I think as an actor, especially since you are the person as one of the primary characters, since you usually we know the whole arc.
Yeah.
Even when we are kind of in the middle of we are doing a scene which is from the middle of the whole arc, and where everybody's in a confusion and nobody really knows how things are going to get resolved and what's coming, what we are up against in the next step. But actually we do know as actors because we've read the whole thing. I think we need to be very careful that uh, we don't also overcommit to the suspense of it, because that might look a little uh, we are overdoing it because there is something that we want to make the audience expect at the next turn. And on the other hand, um, we should be doing nothing that makes the audience understand that we were preempting it because we knew it as an actor. So, of course, it's the director's job to kind of constantly, keep drawing those lines. But I do think as an actor, you have to also forget, especially if you're part of a thriller, you have to keep forgetting certain parts, especially the parts from towards the end of the piece, where things are revealed and the big reveal happens. You have to kind of erase bits and pieces of that from your hard drive.
I get that. I get that. And also coming to Aranyak, you've got a very interesting ensemble cast. There's Raveena, there's you, there's Ashutosh, there's Zakir, and there is Meghna. And sometimes when I listen to Ashutosh, I feel that I know Hindi, but actually when I listen to him, I feel I don't know Hindi at all.
Yeah, it's like Shashi Tharoor of Hindi. Yes, it's almost like that. Because yeah, I always thought that I kind of know the English language. I've studied it. I've lived in the UK for some time until the time I heard Mr. Tharoor speak, and I said, okay, do I know this language? Yeah, I'm not sure I do. Yeah, Hindi. Yeah, for Ashutosh ji, it's going to be the equivalent of that in Hindi. Absolutely.
I literally need a dictionary because you get so mesmerized when he talks, but I was like, ye shabd mujhe nahi aata, literally.
Also his pace, जो pace है ना, उनकी तो हाँ, अरे भैया आप जब सुनोगे, that pace, and you almost like mesmerized, you feel hypnotized. अरे मैं कहाँ हूँ, कहाँ जा रहा हूँ? Yeah.
How much of a Aranyak are you, Param?
Like how much of a forest person am I? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, jungle में रहने वाला. Killer instinct है या love the wildlife, could rather be in the jungle than in the city. Like, what is it? Your Aranyak quotient, if I may ask.
If I say that I would rather be in a jungle and be engaged in a race for survival while living in a forest, and I would prefer that over living in a city and being part of other races, I would be lying. I would be being a big hypocrite, nothing else. I'm sorry, I can't. I don't think I'll own up to that. No, I'm not. As much as I do not like being part of races, but I'm very much of a city boy, a city man, a city person. Yeah, and I wouldn't want to do without the city for any more than 15 days, I think. So for those 15 days, if I'm given a choice to go somewhere, I would definitely want to go to a forest. I would also like it to be a little cold. People ask me if I'm a mountain person or a sea person. I would say, actually, I was just answering similar questions a while ago, and I'm actually sort of a foothill person. Like, I like the foothills. It's not too cold. It's not really it's not like a trekking adventure kind of a thing, but it's nice, and you can take long walks, and there's a bit of green all around you. You have a nice forest all around you. It's a little cold. Yeah, that's the kind of person that I am, and I like the calm and the splendor, the sprawling beauty of jungles, of forests. But yeah, again, for 15 days, not more than that.
I know. Imagine no Wi-Fi, na? All of us will just go crazy.
No car honking, no cars honking.
I know someone, and also since we were talking about language, what is that one thing that gets your goat when people try pronouncing Bangla words? My only Bangla connection is the Rasgulla and the Sandesh, but I'm sure I'm getting it wrong as well. But I was working in an organization that had a lot of Banglas. But what gets your goat when people...
Which you mean to say we were working in an organization which had a lot of Bengalis, not Banglas.
Yeah, Bengalis.
Yeah, right. Okay, there you go. So yeah, I think yeah. So there are such minor little things thrown in here and there, like the one that you just did right now. Of course, that such things. But I think one thing that really annoys me is when at the airports, when the people who announce, when they start calling Kolkata Kolkata. I don't really, I've never managed to get this. यार बंगाली language जो है उसमें नहीं होता है हाँ, but that doesn't mean that all our O's will be turned into O. हाँ, it's not Kolkata, it's Kolkata. को जैसे होता है कि जैसे पंजाबी में कहना है कोल मतलब या फिर it's just like it's the English coal like कोयला it's coal Kolkata.
Kolkata, I
Come on.
remember that. I'll say Bengalis. I will not say
Yeah.
Banglas.
Nice one. Thank you.
But, it's interesting. I heard you once say that Hindi cinema is not the national cinema of this country. In a way, I'm glad in the last 2 years, we have realized that the world does not orbit around Bollywood. Do you see this is actually the healthy change, and OTT has also contributed to it? Because earlier, Delhi mein cinema theater nahi milta tha. I used to watch Bengali films only at the film festival. Yeah, मेरे को theater नहीं मिलेगा.
Here you can use the word Bangla films.
Bangla. Now I'm confused, man. I have to come in for tutorials now.
Yeah.
So मैं
Right.
film festival में देखा था हमेशा.
I think the OTT is the advent of OTT has worked as a revolution as far as this aspect is concerned, because you see how it has happened. So first, let me clarify my stance or my stand when I say that I don't think Hindi is the national industry, because so I work in Hindi myself, and I think that if I am there to work to offer my services as an actor, मेरी हिंदी उतनी अच्छी होनी चाहिए so that these people can be convinced that I can give this guy a part which is not of a Bengali, and with a little effort, this guy will pass off as someone who is not a Bengali. And I have to put in my due diligence and my desired amount of effort towards that. There's no doubt about that. Also, I'm someone who likes to think that I like to give languages its respect, not just as things that we speak, but also as they project the the continuum of legacy and the history of cultures, basically. So they are and I also come from a race, broadly speaking, linguistically speaking, which has actually lost 40 lakh lives to liberate a country based on not on religion but on language, which is Bangladesh. So I'm someone who really likes to give languages its due respect. So if I'm speaking Hindi, I would try to ensure, if I'm speaking Urdu, I'm trying to ensure that I know at least I put in my effort and I learn it and speak it at least decent enough. But what I say when I mean that Hindi is not the national industry, because although Hindi is spoken by a majority of people up north and like north downwards till about, let's say, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh, right? Half of India doesn't speak Hindi as their native tongue, and there are so many languages, and all these languages they make films. So it has been because Hindi Hindi film industry based out of Mumbai has the wherewithal, has the bandwidth to make their cinema the best distributed and the most porous, if I say, in all corners of the country. That does not, it's not fair to call it the national industry, whilst the other languages, despite making their films, despite having their own distinct cultural legacies, will become sort of a very kind of a derogatory, diminutive word called regional.
Regional cinema. I get that. I totally get that.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
So that's what I mean when I say that. And the second part of your question, which was
OTT has helped actors
right.
and accessibility.
Yes. So what has happened is, I think these boundaries have been considerably blurred in the last 2 years, especially. So the way it works is very different. So and platforms like Netflix have played a huge role in this. Because see, today I'm watching not just even if I can take into account, even if I want to talk about international stuff. Earlier, I would watch English and maybe some French or Italian or German at the most content, like films. Now I watch a Turkish, a Moroccan, an Arabic series, an Israeli, a
Korean.
lot of South American content from South America, Spanish content from South America. I mean, the biggest hit in today's world probably is a series that was conceived and executed in the Spanish language. Right. So that, and similarly, if I take a microcosm of that inside our own country, what has happened is, I think people have watched. I'm just taking my case. People have watched something of mine, seen something of mine on OTT in a Hindi space. Say they've watched a Bulbul, and they thought, "Acha, ye banda kaun hai yaar? It's not that bad." And they've looked me up, and they've gone to Netflix or some other platform, seen what other Bengali films of mine are there on the catalog, and have actually gone and watched them with English subtitles, and have loved them. And now when I go to a city outside Bengal, they come and tell me that, sir, आपने आपकी Bengali film भी हमने देखी है, and we really like them, and that's really gratifying. And that also signals, that also hints at the kind of change in the consumership, the viewership that is taking place. Like I'm a Fahad Fazil fan. 2 years ago, I didn't know who Fahad Fazil was.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So the first film of Fahad Fazil, the first film which had Fahad in it, was this film called Joji. Sorry, it's a film called Kumbalangi Nights that I watched about 2.5 years ago, right before the pandemic. And then I thought, oh, who's this guy? And then over the pandemic, I've seen a lot of his other works. And so, that's what I'm saying. So it's kind of blending in a big blender now.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. So hopefully the next time
Likewise.
when we discuss about a Hindi film, it wouldn't have a paranormal, aspect to it, but
Overtone to it, no, or an undertone or overtone.
do you believe in the paranormal actually?
I do actually. I'm someone who really loves to get scared by ghosts and by supernatural occurrences.
I know, actually, so do I. But imagine if the ghost actually sits and visits you and says hello. There.
No, that's not a very nice thing to think.
But a ghost you would want to meet, yeah? A ghost from the past, someone's ghost you would want to meet and interact with, maybe for those 15 days in the forest.
Tagore.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Actually.
Hands down.
Yeah, to get into Gurudev's mindset would be lovely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So on that note, all the very best, and hope to meet you in person. And next time, discuss a movie without a paranormal overtone to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Pooja. Lovely.